exciting moments here in Florida, and we are weathering Hurricane Nicole. Um, we're gonna surf ahead of that, and so we're in the office today because the weather is still fine. It's a little breezy outside, but Hurricane Nicole's not going to get the best of us, right?
Oh, yeah, true.
So I'm here today with amazing photographer, Mr. Shane Jackson of Master Jackson Media. He has been a photographer and videographer for many years, and his work is just amazing. So today, Shane is going to share some tips on if you are going to take any real estate photography, even if maybe you're hiking in nature and going to take some photos. He does have a professional camera, but he's going to just share some tips that anyone can use just with like having your angles where they need to be. But before we delve into the funness of all things camera and angles, somebody's been traveling.
Oh, yeah.
So welcome, Shane. Thank you so much for your time today, man.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
So you've been traveling lately?
Yeah. So I went to Hawaii in June. I can show you some photos. So that was in Honolulu. I also went to Big Island, Hawaii. So right there.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold it any closer.
Okay,
there you go.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. So I fully extend the arm out.
Oh, look at that one. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is just.
That was by a volcano.
Wow.
Some of the red smoke. There's another one a little
That
farther
is
away.
so pretty.
Okay. And the last one.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I went to Colorado too, but I didn't get a chance to edit all that because I've been busy with real estate photography. So yeah.
Well, man, those for anyone that's not a photographer, don't get camera shy when you see these amazing photos from people such as Shane, who is a professional, and it's like, my photos never come out looking like that. So quick question, Shane. Those photos, he did take those camera photos with his camera.
Yeah.
Did you edit those photos or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used Lightroom Classic. Yeah. That's what I usually use to edit on the desktop.
Okay. So you take the photos, and so like on average for like the volcano photo, I don't know if you're gonna pull it up. I'll show. How long would you say that takes you to edit? Because that is just beautiful.
That one didn't take too long. Probably like 15, 30 minutes max.
Oh, okay.
Not too bad. Yeah.
For one photo, 15, 30 minutes to edit it.
Well, yeah, it depends on like what you want to do. So
well,
yeah, like you could be like really particular about it, like really making sure like the colors pop and everything.
Okay.
So it just depends on how much time you want to put into it. It could take 5 minutes, 1 minute, 15, 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's up to the photographer.
For photos like that where you're traveling and whatnot, do you edit those usually on your computer or from your phone?
From a laptop, yeah.
Okay.
You have more options on a laptop. Yeah.
More options. Okay, that's good to know. So for those that are out in nature, such as you were, what would you say is like one tip? When they have that camera, whether they have a camera or even their phone, what would you say are some photography tips that you could share with us today, like maybe angles or things of that nature?
Well, if you're doing it on your phone, you have 3 camera lenses. So even when I was like out on vacation, like I was like using my phone too. And not all cameras, not all phones, but some have like multiple cameras. So you could like take a shot with like each lens and then just try to like figure out the composition with each lens to see what you can do. So you could get like a really different shot with a wide angle lens compared to like a tight lens. So you'd be like really surprised on what different types of shots you could get.
So you say wide angle lens with the phone. Is that a an attachment, or that's a set of
Well,
setting on the phone?
they're like different lenses. So this is wide angle. This is like a 13. I don't know like which one specifically is a wide angle one, but one of these is the wide angle.
Oh, okay.
One of them is a standard. Let's see if we show it right. Yeah. One of them is a standard usually. I think it's like 28 millimeters, and then like another one's like a telephoto. So however they arrange it in there, if you like go into your settings, usually you can see it. On iPhones at least. This is an iPhone 13
I'm a
Pro
droid.
Max. Yeah, well, even the droids too, because there's 3 cameras, so they should have the same kind of setup. So they have wide angle is what they call the 0.5, standard the 28. That's just shows one, and then 3 times zoom. That should be the telephoto. So whenever that you're in like a beautiful scene, just try to take a photo with each of the 3 lenses and see what types of shots you could get.
Different options, even for droids.
Yeah,
You can hold the hope.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, like, I'm sure everybody that's an iPhone user is familiar with those options. So yeah.
And so, for someone that is branching out, maybe a novice, someone that has a camera, what would you say is a good tip for if they're out in nature with a
I
camera?
would say bring your tripod. A lot of people like leaving the tripod at home. Like it's a little difficult to carry around. Yeah, definitely. If you have a tripod, you have more options. You could take HDR photography shots. So it's basically HDR photography is like similar to bracketed shots. You could take multiple shots or take multiple exposures for a single shot and then combine those shots in any editing software and get more like dynamic range within like a scene.
Okay.
So basically you'd see more in the shadows and you'd see more in the highlights as opposed to just taking one shot and then you're just limited to the dynamic range of just that one photo.
Wow.
So that's how you get shots like, let me show a good example. That's how you get shots like this.
Mm-hmm.
See, so you see the details in the rocks and you also see the details of what's outside because I took multiple photos and I told, that's actually my dad. I told my dad just to stand still. And I just combined it in post and you got a pretty good shot. So, yeah.
So how many photos did you take? Did you combine for that? How many photos?
That's 5.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So one, like the darkest shot, and that really gets the highlights. One that's in between the middle or mid exposure and the darkest, and that gets like whatever detail that's in between that. And then after that shot, the middle exposure shot, and then just like 2 like on the higher end, just to kind of get like more details in the shadows.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, what kind of software also do you use to edit?
Just Lightroom Classic, yeah. Lightroom Classic, sometimes Photoshop. Again, for that shot, there was like a bunch of power lines there. So I like edited the colors and stuff like within Lightroom.
Okay.
And I like removed the power lines in Photoshop.
Okay.
So I kind of like use them in combination. Okay. It's only $10 a month for both programs, so it's not too expensive.
Well, thank you for that tip.
No problem.
So the next thing that you wanted to give pointers to is any tips for real estate photography. So for someone that's going into a house, what would you say, like, what, great tip would you have for that as far as being able to capture, usually the kitchen is a important feature.
I guess like for a kitchen specifically, I'll talk about other things later. Normally you want to have the camera a little bit higher, so like you don't have too much of the countertop in the shot. Usually kitchens have like 2 entryways, so you want to like take like multiple angles of the kitchen. A lot of times you want to like try to like get your camera like within like a corner of the room so you could show off more. And just like general settings, If you're doing real estate, you at least want to have 60 millimeters. A lot of people have like 12 to 24 millimeter. That's just like the wide angle. Just like try to get like a wide shot. But a 12 to 24 is like $3,000. So I understand why people won't get that. ISO, so that just basically like manipulates the brightness in the shot. You typically want to have that as low as possible because the camera is going to be on a tripod anyway. Because the more you increase it, it reduces the quality of the image. I'm just going through my camera just to see any settings that kind of pop out to me. So with the kitchen,
low, keep the ISO low.
Oh yeah, ISO low. Yeah, if you can. Especially if you're doing like HDR photography, because you're taking multiple shots anyway, so there's no reason to have that on. Your focus area is probably, so you want to like kind of like do manual focus and like a kind of like I guess complex scene like a kitchen, because your camera might not know what to focus on. So you might want to choose a focus point. So you like go to the side of your lens or whatever settings in your camera, however you set it up, and then use this focus wheel to kind of focus on the midpoint of the scene to try to get as much in focus as possible. And another thing you could do is make sure your aperture is at 8 or higher, or not too high, so like 8 to 11. Because if you go past 11, then you start like reaching like diffraction, and that like causes softness in your image. So 8 to 11 is good. Your shutter speed is basically whatever. Just try to like get. So that's another thing. If you see here, it's going to be hard to show. Let me see if I could actually get it to show.
One day I'll have multiple camera angles here, but we are in our, I am in my humble beginnings with this.
I don't know if it's really going to show, but basically zebras show like what parts of the image is blown out. So you basically want to adjust your shutter to where there's not like a blown out part of the image. So that's basically what I do for that.
Okay.
Yeah, when you're on a tripod, you obviously want to have the image leveled. I'm trying to think of any other tips. I wrote some down. The walls. So you don't want to have too much of the nearby wall showing in a shot. Because it's just bad composition. So I'd probably say like half of 1/3 of the nearest wall in the shot. I already talked about corner of the room. If you're taking multiple shots within the same room, you want to show off like different other features of the room. So example, if you're taking a photo of a master bedroom, one shot could be showing off like the nice windows and stuff in it. The next shot could be going to the other side of the room and showing off the connected bathroom to the master bedroom. We already talked about settings. There's like a bunch of like nitpicky settings, but I don't
keep
get
it simple.
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. So I keep it simple for now. And so types of photography, like I kind of touched on it, HDR photography. You don't need a flash setup for that. And that's basically
helpful. That's really good to know what you don't need a flash for.
If you do HDR photography, you don't need a flash, but there's some issues that come with HDR photography. Like since you're only using the light that's within the room, if you like shoot like near, like when it's like starting to get dark out, like you know how you get kind of like a blue cast from just like the darkness, like that kind of shows up in the photos, and like that kind of reflects onto like different objects within the room. So I kind of like doing HDR and flash, and then kind of like combining the image in post production. Flash photography, if you want to do it. So there's, I don't have it with me, but there's like a external flash that you could connect to here, or just wireless flash transmitter that you could connect to your camera, and you could have like a little flash thing that you like wave around or whatever. Basically, how you want to do it is so you like evenly like expose the room.
So they can't see the camera.
Oh yeah, you can't do it. Okay, so you want to have like this, and you want to kind of hold your flash. Pretend this is my flash, it's my phone. You want to kind of hold it to the corner of the room, and it should like evenly expose the room.
Okay.
There's like other ways.
And that's called a what?
External flash.
Okay.
So like wireless flash. So the reason why there's like a transmitter is because when you press it, it basically like triggers the flash when you press it for the photo. Press for the photo.
I have seen that. Question: would a ring light work? So if someone didn't have an external flash, would a ring light work?
I mean, this is like constant light, like a ring light is. So constant light like isn't like as powerful as a flash, because the flash is just like a blip of light, so it's able to, I guess, like burst out just a lot more power instead of having constant light. So
yeah, no ring light for if you're doing real estate photography.
Yeah, flash is best. Yeah.
So lastly, you also wanted to share a tip for videography. So thank you so much for the information. So what tip would you give for videography?
Use a gimbal, because people don't really like shaky footage. Like I know people like handheld footage for, well, especially if you're doing real estate photography, use a gimbal. But like if you're doing like events and stuff, like your hands aren't as stable as you really think. You're gonna think you're getting good footage handheld, but you're gonna go look at your editing software. You're gonna look back at Premiere Pro, and it's gonna look like trash. So don't do that. Well, you obviously like more sensible answer, like talk with your client and see what they're looking for. But typically they would like gimbal type footage. So yeah.
That is really helpful. And gimbal is a stabilizer, is that correct?
Yeah, it's a stabilizer. So yeah.
Now, is a gimbal only for a like professional camera like that, or is that also applicable for someone that's taking photography or videography with their cell phone?
They make gimbals for phones and professional cameras. So the ones for phones are cheaper. The ones for professional cameras are like $1,000. But the one that I have is $1,000. You can get cheaper ones for professional cameras, but they don't hold as much. So that's why it's just best just to spring for the more expensive one.
Well.
Yeah, but for the phones,
cell phone.
Yeah, just get the cell phone one if you're starting out, because the cell phone, like the load of a cell phone is really light compared to a gigantic camera with a big lens. So when starting out, try to like really like think of your expenses, because you don't want to be paying high interest rates on credit cards to pay off the equipment you bought for your business. So yeah.
So that's very helpful, being mindful of our angles, where we're positioning ourselves with the camera. Thank you for the tips about the ISO settings. And for context, there is ISO settings on our cell phones, correct?
So you have to like download some apps.
Okay. If you have a camera app or whatnot.
Yeah. I don't know. I had to like look into like the actual settings. I don't use it too much. I usually just use like my phone for like social media type videos, just something quick to upload to TikTok or whatever. But I'm sure there's like a bunch of like advanced camera app setting or camera applications that have where you could change the ISO and the aperture, all that good stuff. And then also there should be like an expert mode or an advanced mode. So
there is usage in our phones as well. Another video, another time. Any lasting things you want to share with us today, Shane? We appreciate you so much for sharing your expertise with photography. Photography and videography, as you know, is such an important component for marketing and just getting the word out. And so the better quality that our photos and our videos are, the more reach, because more likely, people are going to watch it. As you were saying, the video is not shaky or whatnot. That happened to me the other week, so I can attest for that. I felt like I was doing good, but just like you said, Shane, when you go back and look at that thing, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
it was rough.
Yeah.
So I may still put the footage out just because, I mean, I was out at the Arkansas Dam. Can't re-get that footage back, but
yeah, true.
Thank you so much. Is there any lasting tips or anything that you'd like to share?
Tips. If you're going to do client work, get a camera with 2 SD card slots.
Wow.
Because if one corrupts, then you're out of luck.
Oh my. And
you're gonna have to give them a refund, and you're gonna have somebody that's never gonna come back to you. So yeah.
Wow, I don't 2 of them. That's
yeah.
So I'm not a
like one that records and one that's a redundant backup.
Wow, that's
because if you have one that corrupts, then you basically wasted your time. So done. And you wasted the client's time.
That's a very valuable tip if someone is looking to be a professional photographer. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem. Mm-hmm.
Well, we will put your website in the link. Do you want to show this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my website is masterjax.media.
And we will put that in the description, but just showing you some snips here because this live stream is right now. I'm getting my content out, up and done. The editing process is not what I'm working on right now. So I'm very thankful for people that are willing to do these live streams, fly through it. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope that you were able to get some valuable gold nuggets. And until next time, remember to like, share, subscribe.
Bye, guys.